What are we doing? For real, like all jokes aside, what are we doing? Like, do I need to just accept that this is in fact America and it was wildly naive of me to think anything differently? Like, what are we actually doing? I don't know if y'all remember, I believe it was last year when that South Korean president wrongfully declared martial law and they impeached him shortly after. Rules and guidelines in place. You do this, there are consequences. He did that. Consequences administered, implemented, whatever, right? And then you had that AfD party in Germany that tried to win an election, lost that election, and then shortly after that, Germany declared them officially as a far-right extremist group, right? Given what they showed Germany, right? But for some reason in America, we boast these rules and regulations and guidelines to the citizens, to the country, to the world. And then when somebody literally breaks damn near all of them, I'm watching this man, this administration, gain more and more and more power. So not only does that tell me that the system I was told to take seriously is a fucking joke, but on top of that, the fact that all of this shit hasn't been shut down yet, I have to also start to ask myself, is the majority of the country the MAGA mindset? And that's why we're seeing this bullshit? Were the people that protested on June 14th, were they representing a vast minority of the country? And to me, that seems so wild to have to not only contemplate, but even accept. Like right now, they're talking about this SAVE program and they're going to put interest rates back on student loans, and they're taking away all of these illegal things that the Biden administration did in regards to their policies and procedures and shit. I don't remember the Biden administration trying to overturn a court ruling, and if they were successful, it would give the president immunity from criminal prosecution. An unbelievable luxury that the current president currently has. So the person that needs to be above criminal prosecution if they do break the law is telling you that they're doing all of these things to undo the illegal actions of the Biden administration. And then if you go towards them and say, hey, what you did is illegal, they can just turn around and say, prosecute me then. And prosecuting them is like, do you see the confusion here? Everything they tell you all about the Biden-Harris administration, he still talks about fucking Obama and Michelle for some reason, even though they haven't made a fucking major political decision in God knows how fucking long, right? When they describe these presidents and their terms, their administration, and they use terms like illegal, un-American, we're only doing this because they did something illegal, we're only doing that because they did something American, that is an extremist point of view. That is an extremist rhetoric. It's the same shit Hitler used. I didn't do all of this shit as treason or to ruin Germany. I actually did it for the good of Germany and to save Germany. And enough people bought on to that I'm going to save Germany rhetoric to where it became the fucking Holocaust. And we're seeing the same thing right now. Let me paint it out like this for you, right? I say just go round up somebody that looks to be Latino. They're not checking shit right now. They're going based off of looks alone. Profiling by definition, right? They go round somebody up, no criminal record. They just have them in this Florida detention center. That person dies for the reasons you can fucking imagine, right? And then ICE just tosses them in the swamp for the alligators to eat. What investigation? There was no paperwork on them to begin with if they were undocumented. They got taken to this brand new concentration camp that nobody really knows anything about outside of what we've seen in the fucking headlines. We know it's surrounded by alligators and MAGA finds it funny to feed people to alligators. So what a low cost way to get rid of a fucking body, to just toss it into a swamp and let an alligator eat it. I'm not going to live in a world where I'm so naive or I stop believing that the Trump administration definitely would do shit like that, to where that just sounds like some wild, unbelievable thing that would never happen. Like, really think about the possibilities of what could take place at these deportation centers It's the fact that concentration camps started off being called deportation centers, only to find out that they were in fact concentration camps. So when you see them say that there are all these deportation centers on American soil with more to come, you can't make up in your mind like, hey, that's a fucking concentration camp. As an American, I think we have enough shit history as is. I don't want to add an American Holocaust to that fucking list. But the fact that they are continuing to move forward with all of their plans and their agendas, and we see how unqualified Pete Hegseth and RFK Jr. and Kristi Noem and all of these other people are, as we see this continue without impeachment, without stopping, without anything. Mind you, Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire, ran through the entire federal government and never stood before Congress. It just seems like people have fucking forgotten about that because him and Trump are having a cat fight right now. So all of this wildly unconstitutional, un-American shit that's actually happening, all of this illegal shit that's actually happening, and the people that are doing it are telling you that they're only doing it because the presidents before them did illegal and un-American things. That is an extremist point of view. And ideally, what you would think is that in America, that they would say, hey, you have the freedom of speech. We've heard your perspective. We've heard your mindset. We've heard your ideology. And that falls in line with extremist views and extremist ideologies. So we are going to officially label MAGA as an extremist party. That is the common sense thing to do. And to me, that's somewhat outside of politics, because if the Democrats or the left or the liberals were just violating the Constitution, violating the law, saying that this is our vision for America, fuck what y'all got to say about it, fuck the rules in place, this is what we're going to do. If we need to overturn a Supreme Court ruling from 70 plus years ago so that this law doesn't apply anymore, we're going to fucking do it. If millions of people protest, we don't give a fuck, we're just going to call them un-American, and any political figures that oppose us, we're going to threaten them and try to intimidate them. If the left did that, and then America came out and said, hey, y'all are now going to be labeled officially as an extremist group, I would be okay with that too. This isn't a, I hate Donald Trump, I hate Republicans, I hate the right type shit. This is just purely, these are extremist views, extremist actions, extremist policies, extremist rhetoric. But we allow it and call it the federal government. No, it's extreme. I'll end it with this. I remember that video where Obama's speaking and somebody was yelling and interrupting his speech in the crowd, and they were basically saying, like, stop the deportations, like, save the immigrants, stuff like that. And they were saying, you're the president, just change it. You're the president, you can do it, you have the power. And I remember Obama stopped and he said, you have the freedom of speech. So by all means, you can interrupt, you know what I'm saying? Have respect. He definitely checked him on that, but he said, you have the freedom of speech, so we're going to honor that, okay? The character and the class of Obama, right? But then he took the time to say, I hear you. I understand what you're saying. I understand your concerns. But then he said, we live in this type of government, in this type of society, in this type of country where these processes are necessary to get things done. And I can't just be the president and try to strong arm my perspective, my things like that into the way. He took the time to say, one, I honor your freedom of speech, instead of just calling him all kinds of names like Donald Trump does when you don't kiss his ass. And then he said, yeah, I hear you, but I can't do that because I have to respect the system and the processes in place. That's a fucking president. That's a fucking man. That's somebody you can look up to. That's a fucking role model. That's somebody you can look down at your son and say, you see that man there? That's somebody you can take after and take notes from. You can't do that shit with Donald Trump. You don't want any fucking immigrants whatsoever to be in this country. You just want it to be a bunch of white, blonde hair, blue-eyed people that only get the best of the best that this country has to offer. Great. That's an extremist view. Shut the fuck up. It's not American values. Go on about your fucking day. That's what it is. But right now we have millions and millions and millions of Americans saying, oh, finally, somebody's in the Oval Office that's going to allow all of my hatred and inexplicable bullshit to become a reality. And the one thing that's going to piss me off and make me ask my cult leader questions is the fact that he told me there was an Epstein list, but now they're saying there's not an Epstein list. Like, do I really have to look in the mirror and just accept that America is not the country I thought it was? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?